Hello guys, welcome to the Constructed Compendium for Witchwood, the new Hearthstone expansion, where I'm going to be rating the cards based on how good they are in ranked, okay? So this is constructed mode. If you want to see arena, make sure to check out the other video. But why you guys want to see this is because this is the most accurate of all constructed compendiums, okay? So here, Ed is going to put some clips of previous cards I evaluated that were super true, okay? Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and give this 1 star. I just don't think this is going to be good enough. Now, I think this card is bonkers. I'm gonna give this 6 stars right now, and I'm gonna give this the award of best neutral legendary in the game. So, now that you guys saw the clips, we're gonna go ahead and flip this around and start with the neutrals first. Alright, so first card we have is Swamp Leech. For 1 mana, you get a 2/1 lifesteal. This is basically unplayable in Constructed. It's a 1 mana 2/1 that doesn't do anything. The prevalence of this card, though, means that Deathstalker Rexxar can actually make lifesteal beasts now, right? So even though it's a 0-star card, it's still going to be played in Constructed because of Deathstalker Rexxar. So that's important to know. Alright, next up we have Swamp Dragon Egg. For 1 mana you get a 0/3, neutral card, of course. Death Rattle, you add a random dragon to your hand. So you're never going to play this in Constructed. It's 1 mana 0/3, it doesn't do anything. And adding a random dragon is really bad because there's just all sorts of random dragons. So this is an easy 0 stars as well. Next up, Vicious Scalehide is a 2 mana 1/3, Lifesteal Rush Beast. So once again, you only play this if you're in Deathstalker Rexxar. And it's actually kind of interesting if you like combine 2 beasts together, and this is lifesteal and rush, so that's pretty good keywords. But no, you're not gonna play this in Constructed, so that's 0 stars. Next up, Spell Shifter, 2 mana werewolf. So it's a 1/4, but every time it's in your hand, it swap its attack and health, and has spell damage +1. So you're not gonna be able to play this because it's just 2 mana 4/1 and 2 mana 1/4 is not good, and spell damage +1 is not really that good anyways. So this is a very easy 0 stars. Next card we have is Lost Spirit, 2 mana 1/1 with Death Rattle. Give your minions +1 attack. So obviously you want a big board and you will play Lost Spirit and then you can buff them all up. But it's super fragile and your opponent can play around by killing all your other minions first. And it's a 2 mana 1/1 if you have nothing else to play, 0 stars. Next up, Walnut Sprite. For 3 mana, you get a 3/3 with Echo. So you can replay this multiple times, right? So 3 mana 3/3, or 6 mana 2 3/3s, or 9 mana 3 3/3s, right? So Echo is a really good mechanic because you get to play it early game and you get to play it late game, so it's really strong. But this is a neutral Echo, and we're gonna see better Echoes in the class cards. But this is an easy 0 stars. You're not gonna play this. Next we have Hench Clan Thug. For 3 mana, you get a 3/3, and after your hero attacks, give this minion +1/+1. Finally, the first non-0 star card, okay? So this is actually pretty good because there are some classes that can take advantage of this and get this to be a 3 mana 4/4 that keeps on growing big. We're talking about warriors, right? They have weapons. They have rogues have weapons. Rogues is probably like the best way to actually get this thing down, right? And of course, those are the best classes to trigger this with. You can say you want to do Druid because you can always hero power to give this +1/+1. It's like an Inspire effect, right? But yeah, I don't think this is gonna be too good outside of Rogue and Warrior. And of course, this is a very aggressive card, right? You want to go super aggro because it's a big minion on 3. So I'm gonna actually give this 3 stars. I think this is actually a reasonable aggro card for decks that kind of want to just hit the face. Alright, next up we have Marshdrink. 3 mana 5/4 dragon. Battlecry, you summon a 2/1 poisonous Drake Slayer for your opponent. So the 2/1 you give your opponent has a little bit of that has a little bit of stuff, right? So say you're playing a deck that has, a lot of 1 AoE damage, or you're playing mage that can ping it off and stuff like that. So this feels like that the 2/1 poisonous, if you can take advantage of it, then it can be really good. Like Dragon Priest can also Shadow Madness the poisonous and actually use it to kill something off. So you get a 3 mana 5/4 and you get a 4 mana Assassinate. So yeah, this card is reasonable. and it activates a few things. MC Tech, Defile, those are always things that it can activate, right? So I feel like this has potential. And you're getting a 3-mana 5/4, right? You could also just play this normally, just play a 2-drop, play this as a 3-drop, and trade 2-drop with the poisonous minion, although that's not really that good. So overall, I feel like it could be okay. So I'm gonna give this 2 stars. I feel like this has a little potential. Next up, we have Pumpkin Peasants. It's a 3-mana 2/4 or 4/2 werewolf with lifesteal. So 3-mana 4/2 lifesteals are fine. And 3-mana 4/2 lifesteals are fine. They're not really breaking the game or anything. I don't think this is gonna be a player. 3-mana 3/3 lifesteals were never seen play. Acolyte of Agony was not really a good card, so I think this is 0 stars. I'm gonna ignore the shit. Okay, next up we have Blackwall Pixie. For 3 mana you get a 3/4, so that's a pretty good rate. And Battlecry Refresh your hero power. So the Battlecry only affects if you have, you know, something like cheaper hero power. So like if you're playing Gen Greymane, that we're gonna see later, or if you play this on 7, right? So your hero power, play this 7. That doesn't seem good. So this is a very easy 0 stars. You're not gonna play this. Next up, Tango for a Mystic, 3-mana 3/4. Battlecry, add a random 2 cost minion to each player's hand. I just don't see why you would play this. One could say that, oh, you can play in mill to give them a card to mill them, but it's not really that millish, right? What are you going to go with a 2 cost, right? So this is also a very easy 0 stars. Alright, next up, Ravencrawler. 3-mana 2/1. Battlecry, add 2 random 1 cost minions to your hand. Now this is actually interesting because you know, you could play this in some different decks that can take advantage of the 2 1 cost minions, right? So you can play it in Quest Hunter, for example, and the 1 cost minions can actually fuel your quest. You can also play this in Zoo to refill your hand to play more 1-drops. You could also take this with some other class enablers. So we're gonna see some classes gonna get some stuff like Toxmonger, right? Hunter can get poisonous, 1-drop minions and stuff like that. So overall, I think this could be a good enabler. This also could be really good in aggressive decks, so like Druid, for example. Yeah, you're not gonna find this in like mid-range or even control decks. So Ravencrawler gets a 1 star. Unpowered Steambot is a 4-mana 0/9 of Taunt. You really need to combo something with this card for it to be good, because why would you ever play a 4-mana 0/9? And I don't think the combo potential is going to be that good. It's really just a combo piece, right? Like, if the combo decks are good, then this card is reasonable, because it has Taunt, right? Taunt is not negligible. You play something like Lady in White with this, then there's a 9/9 Taunt. So I think it does have a little potential, but I'm not really convinced that this is better than, say, some other 4-drops that are just good by themselves, right? So I'm just gonna give this 1 star. Next up, Swift Messenger. 4-mana 2/6 or 6/2 Werewolf with Rush. I mean, 4-mana 6/2, it's like a Leroy, but the Leroy can't go face, which is problematic. And a 4-mana 2/6 Rush is better than Stormwind Knight, but also it can't go face. So because it can't go face, it's easy 0 stars. Felsoul Inquisitor is a 4-mana 1/6 Demon with Lifesteal and Taunt. This is Mogoshan Warden with Lifesteal, so this is 0 stars. Rotten Apple Bomb. For 5 mana, you get a 4/5 Taunt, and you get a Death Rattle effect. Restore 4 health to your hero when it dies. Now, this is actually kind of interesting, because it's like a weird mixture of Second-Rate Bruiser and Mistress of Mixtures, right? Like, this by itself, that actually does stop a lot of aggression, right? It's like a 5-mana 4/9 if you're facing a pure aggro deck, because it soaks 5 damage, and it restores 4 health to your hero. So it feels like it's gonna be reasonable. And if you play it in classes that can use the life gain, so if you play like a weapon class or you play Warlock, then this could actually be reasonable. It is a very low stat line though, so it's a 5-mana 4/5, so it doesn't really interact well with the board, I guess. But the Death Rattle is a nice little effect here. So I think this could see play. So I'm gonna give this 3 stars. I think this is reasonable. Clockwork Automaton, 5-mana 4/4 mech. You double the damage and healing of your hero power. So once again, another combo piece that you probably find somewhere in like Priest or Hunter. Hunters honestly don't really want to play a 5-mana 4/4, but you never know, right? There's gonna be new upgraded hero powers that might actually take advantage of this. Outside of that, it's not really affects a lot of classes, right? It affects Mage. Mage can ping for 2, but I don't think mages want to ping for 2 anyways. And Warlocks can life tap a 4. So, you know, that's a thing. It's interesting to note that there is one combo that's interesting with what's that Warlock hero card called? Blood Reaver Gul'dan, right? So if you play this with Blood Reaver Gul'dan, you actually deal 6 damage with your hero power, and your hero power also restores 12 life to you. So deal 6, restore 12 is really good. But is that worth the cost of paying a 5 mana for a 4/4? I really don't think so. I think you need to do something broken with this. So you need to do something that refreshes your hero power or something. Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of this, even in Blood Reaver Gul'dan. Blood Reaver Gul'dan just play your demons and stuff. So I'm actually going to give this 2 stars. It's really just like a combo piece. Dark Mire Moonkin is a 7 mana 2/8. Why are you playing a 7 mana card that's spell damage +2? Just play some other card. 0 stars. Fierce Etin is a 7 mana 5/9 of Taunt. It's a very good rate, and it's just an arena card. You're not gonna play this in arena, so you're not gonna play this in constructed. So this is easy 0 stars. Rimguard for 7 mana you get a 3/11, and if you're holding a dragon, you gain +1 attack and taunt. So it's a 4/11 taunt for dragon decks. This actually is kind of interesting. Because when you're playing a dragon deck, you obviously want to curve high, and the 4/11 taunt is pretty thick, right? Like, you actually get to the late game, and some decks just can't beat a 4/11 taunt. They just can't really get over this. So Rimguard is okay. I think it's gonna be reasonable in dragon decks, and yeah, the only downside of this is that it's 7-drop. It's really expensive. So I'm just gonna give this. I'm gonna give this a 3 stars. I think it's reasonable. Like. It's really good wall, but the high cost really prevents it from going over 3 stars. So it's a 3-star card. Next up, Deranged Doctor is an 8 mana 8/8 with Death Rattle, restore 8 health to your hero. I just don't see how you can. This is not even a good card to cheat into play, right? There are so many better cards to cheat into play, and it has a Death Rattle effect, so it doesn't even restore health when you play it. So it's no antique heal bot, and it's so expensive. So yeah, you're not gonna play this. This is 0 stars. Cauldron Elemental, 8 mana 7/7 Elemental. With your other elementals have +2 attack. The text doesn't mean anything. I mean, elementals don't really need to go wide anyways. So this is bad. 0 stars. Onwards to the rare neutral cards. Phantom Militia, 3 mana 2 for Echo and Taunt. So you can play this as many copies as you want, and it has Taunt. So a 3 mana 2/4 Taunt is nothing special, right? It's a Squirming Tentacle. But you can play this on turn 6 and get 2 taunts, and you can play this on turn 9 and have 3 taunts. Like, this is not too unreasonable, right? Like, it's very close to being playable. And if you're playing Echo card, you kind of want taunt anyways, right? So I think this has a little potential. So I'm going to give this 1 star. It's not unplayable. We're going to see, like, class Echo cards are way more pushed and have way more value than this. So yeah, we're gonna see some more of those later. Nightcrawler is a 4 mana 3/3 beast with, if this is the only minion in the battlefield, you gain +3/+3. So it counts your minions and it counts your opponent's minions as well. So it really has to be like a lone thing for it to be good. Now, basically, history taught us that any card that is overstated will always see some sort of play, right? Now, there is pretty hard for this to work, but the good thing about this, compared to something like Eerie Statue, is that Eerie Statue is really awkward, right? Because Eerie Statue, you need to always have an empty board to have a 4 mana 7/7. This, you just need an empty board to, like, when you play it. So it's a bit more reasonable for this. So I think Nightcrawler has a little potential. I don't know what deck actually wants this though, so I'm just gonna give this 1 star. Alright, next up we have Scaleworm. For 4 mana you get a 4/4 beast, but it's actually a 5/4 beast with Rush if you have a dragon in your hand. Dragon decks do actually want more removal, and this is kind of like a bad version of Blackwing Corruptor. Alright, Blackwing Corruptor, 5 mana 5/4 deal 3 damage, right? This is a 4 mana 5/4 that you need to rush and kill something. So, I mean, it's not too good, but it's also a piece that Dragon's decks might actually play. I don't feel like this is super pushed, so I'm just gonna give this 2 stars. 4 mana 5 for Rush is still okay. So, yeah, 2-star card. Witchwood Piper. For 4 mana, you get a 3/3. With battle card, draw the lowest cost minion from your deck. This is actually pretty interesting because it specifically says draw the lowest cost minion from your deck. So if you're playing a combo deck, you can actually play this to kind of like find your combo piece, right? So like something like Exodia Mage, or if you're playing a priest deck that really wants your 1-drops, like Chameleos, for example, then you can kind of play this. It can actually find Prince Keleseth. Obviously, Prince Keleseth, you want to play it in decks with like a lot of 1-cost cards, but if you don't, then Witchwood Piper could actually find it. So there's a little interesting mechanic there, but I'm gonna give this 2 stars. I think it's recent. I think it's in combo decks. Life Drinker, it's a 4 mana 3/3. With Battle Cry, deal 3 damage to the enemy hero and restore 3 health to your hero. So basically it's a 4 mana 3/3 that sucks for 3. If you compare this to Nightblade, this is like way more insane, right? Yeah, I mean this is gonna be really good. Because if you play this in aggro, it's basically a 4 mana 3/3 of charge, and it charges face. It also ignores taunts. So I think Life Drinker is actually really good. I think it's gonna see some play in the very aggressive decks. And the good part about this card is that in aggro versus aggro, you actually the restore 3 health to your hero actually does matter quite a bit. So I'm actually gonna say that this is not bad. I think this is gonna see play. I'm gonna give this 4 stars. Like, this is a real card, I think. And aggro decks just really want more cards that go face, right? So yeah, I think this card is good. Mad Hatter is a 4 mana 3/2 with Battlecry. Randomly toss 3 hats to other minions, and each hat gives +1/+1. So it's kind of like a reverse Mad Bomber, in that instead of dealing 1 damage, it gives +1/+1 to minions only. Now, imagine if you're playing like a zoo deck, right? This is actually really good. It's a 4 mana 6/5, and the 3 and there are 3/3 of those stats actually have charge. So I actually think this card might be really good. Obviously, if you're playing against another, minion-based deck, you need to clear their minions first. But man, the stats on this card is really, really good. So I'm gonna give this 3 stars. I think this has a lot of potential in a very aggressive minion-based deck. Witchwood Grizzly is a 5 mana 3/12 beast with taunt. Okay, so that's really, really big. What's the downside? The downside is battle card, lose 1 health for each card in your opponent's hand. There are just gonna be some matchups where this is gonna be so insanely good, right? You play against any aggro deck or any mid-range deck, and this is gonna be a very thick taunt, right? It's gonna be like a 3/7 taunt if they have 5 cards, which is really realistic. And if you combo this out with any resurrect mechanics, such as, Eternal Servitude, such as the new Druid cards that summon a random beast back, then you're gonna get value from this card. So Witchwood Grizzly actually does have a potential to be pretty sick. So I'm gonna give this 3 stars. Chief Inspector is a 5 mana 4/6 with battle card, destroy all enemy secrets. You're never gonna see this played. This is a pure arena card. So this is easy 0 stars. Gilnean Royal Guard. It's an 8 mana 3/8 or 8/3. Divine Shield Rush Werewolf, right? 8 mana 8/3 Divine Shield Rush is really good, right? 8 mana, deal 8 damage to something, get an 8/3. That's kind of like Fireline's Portal-ish territory, right? And then 8 mana 3/8, so it's a deal 3 damage and then you get a 3/8. That's also pretty good. The fact that this does not go face is a little problematic. I'm not really a big fan of this because it just doesn't go face. That's pretty much the analysis here, right? If you have an 8-drop, you really need it to be very flexible or just really, really big, and this doesn't really accomplish that. So I think Gilnean Royal Guard gets a very easy 0 star. Baleful Banker is a 2 mana 2/2. Epic cards now. Choose a friendly minion and you shuffle a copy of it into your deck. So it's really a pure combo piece, right? If you shuffle more cards you want to draw, then it can be really good. So stuff like, Prince Keleseth, but we can't even play with Prince Keleseth. What I'm talking about. You can play with stuff like the Exodia Mage. You can play this in like I don't even know if you want to play this in Q block to shuffle more demons into your deck. But man, this is like really hard to pull off. You need to have a minion on the field, and you need to play this on it, and you also don't draw the card. So it's like, yeah, you just need to combo this out somehow. So I'm just gonna give this 1 star. It's not a good combo piece. Voodoo Doll. is a 3-mana 1/1 with battle card choose a minion, and when this dies, that minion dies as well. Honestly, this card could see play because there's a lot of ways to trigger this, right? Any any spell that AoEs for 1 makes this work. You can also ping this off. You can also eat this off with some Warlock cards or whatever. So I feel like this is okay. I guess the best way for Voodoo Doll to work is Frostless Jaina, so you get an Assassinate and a 3/6 Wall Elemental. But outside of that, I guess you gotta really be a bit more creative in this, in finding some sort of spell that can kill this. I think this is still really good, right? Like a 5-mana Assassinate at neutral, at worst, because you use 2 mana to ping this off or whatever, it's still really good. So if you can like do something else with this, then I think it's really good. I think you just some decks might just you just need to build a good deck with this. So I'm gonna give this 3 stars. I think it's good. Nightmare Amalgam is a 3-mana 3/4 that is all the tribes, okay? So it's a kind of a spooky artwork. But honestly, I don't think this is going to be played. I mean, what really do you want an extra one of? I think Dragon is probably the one that seems like it's going to be the best. Because I don't feel like there's a lot of 3-drop dragons. Do keep in mind that this being in the game makes it so whenever you discover a dragon or Murloc or Elemental or whatever, that you might actually get this. So this actually kind of powers down all the Discover cards. So that's an interesting tidbit. But honestly, I don't think this is going to be played, like put in into your decks. Outside of, I think, Dragon. I think Dragon's like really the only one. I think in Dragon decks, this might be like a 2 stars. But outside of Dragon decks, I think this is just unplayable, right? So 0 stars for non-Dragon decks. Next we have Witch's Cauldron. For 3 mana, you get a 0/4 with, after a friendly minion dies, add a random shaman spell to your hand. Now, if you can combo this with something like Unleash the Hounds, or something that makes a lot of creatures, and then you get a lot of shaman spells, that could be cool. But at the end of the day, you're getting random shaman spells, and it's a 0/4, so you're not going to see this playing competitive, honestly. You can meme this up. I think this is a very fun card, but fun cards are generally 0 stars. Sandbinder, 4 mana 2/4. You draw an elemental from your deck. Obviously, only found in elemental decks, but you get to exactly draw an elemental. I don't think this is gonna be that good, right? Like even in elemental decks, you don't really want a tutor for them, because tutors work better when you have a low amount of elementals, right? If your whole deck is elementals, then you can just draw a random card, and it's probably just gonna be the same, right? So what deck actually wants a specific elemental? Well, the only ones I can think of is the Lyra combo in Priest, and that's kind of it. So yeah, I think if you really want to go really ham with the Priest combo, then that could be good, but otherwise I don't think it's gonna be that good. So I'm just gonna give this a 1 star. I don't think even in the Miracle Priest you would want to play this. Mach Hunter is a 5 mana 5/8 rush, so it can attack minions immediately, and it summons 2/2/1s for your opponent. This is actually reasonable because it activates some combo potential, right? MC Tech, the File, you know, stuff like you know, Spirit Lash or whatever. The rate is really good. You just need to not play this on 5, and that's actually a big drawback. A 5-drop that you can play this on 5 and have it be fine, I guess. But you're really not too happy about it. So yeah, I'm not really too big on this card, even with all the potential, of all the combo potentials. So I'm just gonna give this a 1 star. I think this is just not good enough. Moira Horrors is a 6 mana 2/7 with destroy all other minions with 2 or less attack. So it's a 2/7 that casts Shadow of Horror. Since this is neutral, any class can play it, and if there's like an abundance of, you know, paladins and shamans, then this could be a nice little neat tech card. But it's a 6 mana card, and it doesn't really help your game plan, so I don't really see this being played. So I think this is a 0. Worgen Abomination is 7 mana 6/6. At the end of your turn, deal 2 damage to all other damaged minions. This is a really good arena card, as I said in the Compendium, but this is a really bad constructed card, right? Like, how do you activate this? You activate this if you have a whirlwind effect, so warriors, right? That's like the first thing that comes up in your mind. But it doesn't even kill the damaged minions for sure. So yeah, and warriors are not going to have a hard time clearing the board. so they don't really need to make a 7 mana 6/6. So this is an easy 0-star. Splitting Fester Root is of 8 mana 4/4. When it dies, you get 2 2/2s, and when those 2/2s die, you actually get 2 1/1s. So if you add all the stats together, it's like an 8 mana 12/12. But it's an 8 mana 4/4. It's just really slow. You gotta cheat this into play somehow for it to be good. And even if you cheat this into play, you're getting an 8 mana, say 1/1, right? Usually when you cheat this, it's a 1/1. So you get a 1/1 that therefore has to do 2 2/2s, that therefore has to do 4 1/1s in total. I just don't see this happening. It just doesn't seem good. So I think this is also an easy 0 stars. Alright, onwards to the neutral legendaries. These ratings should be a little bit better now. Dolebastard Orion is the first one. Whenever you draw a minion, you summon a 1/1 copy of it. So the Dolebastard Orion is a 5 mana 2/6 that needs to stay on the board for you to keep on drawing minions to summon copies of them. This can actually be a little crazy, okay? Like, there's a lot of potential things that can happen. You can play this on 5 and your opponent has to kill this, and if they don't, you can actually go off. You can find this maybe in Demon Lock, right? You can play Dorian. You can actually tap for more copies, and of course you can bring them back with Blood Reaver Gul'dan, for example. You can also play this in combo decks. You know, you just get 1/1 copies of whatever you get, and then you can resurrect them. You can actually charge with them. You can silence them and turn them into actual copies of minions. So Dolebastard Orion does have a little potential, especially if you can, you know, weave a deck around it. The stat line is kind of poor, but usually combo cards stat lines are pretty poor. We'll see if this works. Obviously, if you play this late game, it'll be perfect. But yeah. How excited am I with this card? You actually have to put in a lot of effort to make this card work. Alright, and I think that's the main problem with this. So I'm gonna give this 2 stars. I think this is a combo piece that you really need to work the deck around it. Otherwise, it's just not gonna be that good. Next up, we have, again, Greymane. For 6 mana, you get a 6/5. So that's pretty normal. It's neutral energy, of course. At the start of the game, so it always activates if you meet this condition, yeah? If your deck is only even cost cards, your starting hero power costs 1. Which means that if you build an even cost deck, so 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, then your hero power only costs 1, which means you can hero power on turn 1. So this is actually well, obviously it's a build around, but this is actually pretty insane in some decks, right? Imagine if you're playing Paladin and you hero power in turn 1, right? You can also hero power in turn 1 with Shaman, for example, and you can also hero power in turn 1 for a Hunter. You can just shoot them in the face. This one like limits. It's a bit limited in what it can do, because you can't really play this in stuff like Druid or Priest, right? Because why would you want your hero power to cost 1? You know, it doesn't really work that well. And of course, it's really hard to evaluate even cost cards, because well, what's a good even cost cards? The best even cost cards are in Paladin. So I think the best way to do this, I think the best Gen Greymane deck is a Paladin deck, right? When you hero power in turn 1, it's actually pretty ridiculous. And the fact that you can hero power whenever you have this 1 spare could be really nice. Like maybe Duke Paladin you play this. But man, you have to play even cost cards. So, man, I don't know. Gen Greymane is a little awkward. I'm gonna give this 2 stars. I think this one is a very hard build around, and the reward is not really that good, because the hero power doesn't really do anything. Like, it costs cheaper, so what, you know? 2 stars. Countess Ashmore is a 7 mana 6/6 with Battlecry. Draw a Rush, Lifesteal, and Death Rattle card from your deck. So 7 mana 6/6, draw 3 is pretty damn good, okay? Ancient of Lore is crying right now. Oh my gosh, just... Man, and Rush, Lifesteal, and Death Rattle, these are all very good keywords, right? If you are playing a deck, if you're playing a deck with these keywords in class cards, such as Obsidian Statue, Darius Crowley, or any Death Rattle card, then this could be really, really sick. So I think Countess Ashmore is going to be really, really good. I'm going to give this 5 stars. I think if you build a deck around this, it's gonna be really strong, and it's not like a big cost to put, you know, Rush, Lifesteal, Death Rattle cards in your deck, right? It's not saying, oh, you need to put Murloc cards in your deck, and Murlocs are generally bad, right? So I think Countess Ashmore actually has a lot of potential, and you know, it just might be a freebie. Freebie being like, the Rush, Lifesteal, Death Rattle creatures are good enough already, so you just play a 7 mana 6 draw 3. So this is easy 5-star cards. And everybody, let's give a clap for our first 5-star card. Wow, clappy, clappy. Azalina Soul Thief. It's a 7 mana 3/3 with Battlecry. Replace your hand with a copy of your opponent's. This is the techiest of cards I've ever seen, right? A 7 mana 3/3 is so small. And then you have to copy your opponent's hand. Like, man, this is like really, really difficult to make work. Like, there are some matchups where this is actually just a dead card. Because you play this against like any aggro or mid-range deck, and then you're like, oh shit, this is really bad. You play this against like a combo Warlock, and you go like, well, I don't really have all the combo pieces anyways, right? It's because like, you know, you didn't really, it's not your game plan. So, man, I really don't like this card. This card seems so troll. This card can only be good if you are playing a mid-range and you run out of cards and you're against a control and they never run out of cards, right? Oh, this is very, very specific. I'm gonna give this 1 star. I mean, that thing might come up where, you know, mid-range you really need to refill your hand. But there are so many matchups that this is just gonna be a dead card. So I'm not a big fan of this. 1 star. Alright, the final neutral legendary is Baku the Moon Eater. Ooh, nice name. 9 mana 7/8 with the start of game text again. It's a beast. If your deck is only odd cost cards, upgrade your hero power. Now this is a card I can get behind because upgrading hero power is very, very sick. Imagine you're playing something like Warrior. You get gain 4 armor, right? You can also play Paladin. Hero power actually gets improved by this too, right? The Paladin hero power gets to summon 2/1/1s. Priest, you get a heal for 4. You know, Hunter, you get a shoot for 3. There's a lot of potential for Baku the Moon Eater. There are obviously some classes that really can't take advantage of this. So like the Druid hero power is not that good. The Warlock hero power is the upgraded one is not that good. Shaman's not that good. Rogue's not that good. So you can only play that in like a really busted hero power. And most busted is probably gonna be Warrior, right? Like, just 2 mana gain 4 armor is just not a fair mechanic. So I think just based on that, I think Baku is a 5-star card, right? The fact that you can just warp everything around Baku makes it so that it's gonna be really good. Obviously, you can only use 50% of your card collection, but upgrading hero power is just that strong. So yeah, I think this is an easy 5 stars as well.